Numbers chapter 20, verse 1. It says, Then the children of Israel, the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people stayed in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. Now there was no water for the congregation, so they gathered together against Moses and Aaron, and the people contended with Moses and spoke, saying, If only we had died when our brethren died before Yahweh. Why have you brought up the assembly of Yahweh into this wilderness, that we and our animals should die here? And why have you made us come up out of Egypt to bring us to this evil place? It is not a place of grain or figs or vines or pomegranates, nor is there any water to drink. So Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and they fell on their faces, and the glory of Yahweh appeared to them. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Take the rod, you and your brother Aaron, gather the congregation together. Speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water. Thus you shall bring water to them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their animals. So Moses took the rod from before Yahweh as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock. And he said to them, Hear now, you rebels, must we bring water for you out of this rock? Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their animals drank. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron, Because you did not believe me to hallow me in the eyes of the children of Israel, or sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. This was the water at Meribah, because the children of Israel contended with Yahweh, and he was sanctified among them. So after Miriam died, they had this episode with the Israelites, and that they didn't have water to drink, and they were complaining as usual. He struck the rock, but he didn't sanctify God before the people. And because of that, him and Aaron were told, You're not going to bring these people into the promised land. Now Moses was pleading with God that he could go. God said, No, you're not going, and I don't want to hear any more about it. Moses, even though how great he is in Bible history, and how God even made him a god to Pharaoh, that God never gave him immunity from anything. Given that being the fact, when we hear of people giving immunity to individuals that don't even meet nowhere near the standard of Moses, you know somebody that messed up. That will not end well. Because if God didn't give immunity to Moses, you know better well no one else should get immunity at all. When you join a group and you're a leader, you exalt them, and you give them unquestioned authority in your life, you done messed up. God didn't even give that to Moses. And yet you're going to give it to some leaders that couldn't even untie the sandals of Moses. That's an insane decision. And that goes for everybody in the Catholic Church, the Watchtower, any of these churches where they have a leader and then they're giving them immunity. It's like whatever they say they believe, you done messed up. No one on this earth deserves or should ever get any immunity from their conduct at all. The Bible says that we all reap what we sow. There is no immunity. There's accountability. Because what does the Bible tell us in Matthew 16, verse 27, Revelation 22:12? Everybody be judged based on their conduct of your works, what you've done. There'll be no once saved, always saved, as these wicked antichrist preachers teach. That statement is nowhere in the Bible. If we don't do what's right, if we don't follow the law of Christ, then we're going to get in trouble. We make sure that what the leader says, whoever's taking the lead, is not out of harmony with what God says. And if they're trying to tell us something that God didn't say, we're going to correct them, because they're not supposed to get any immunity. Jesus said everything that we say, unprofitable thing we say, we're going to render judgment for. So as Christians, as people who are trying to do what's right, don't ever give anybody immunity in your life, but stick to what God says, and you will never be deceived, and you'll never be disappointed.